Hello and welcome to the Film Appreciation Podcast. I am your host, Nick, and as always, I am joined by Isaac and Marlon, the other hosts of the show.
G'day.
How are we going, boys?
Ready for
Good.
episode 3, man.
Yeah,
Ready.
it's exciting.
Very exciting. We've got a lot of interesting shit to talk about.
Especially what's first up. It's going to blow your mind.
Oh, okay.
One
So
of the most in-depth films.
with so much
artful
analysis,
films I've ever seen.
so you guys won't believe this, but we actually watched the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes. We were
Unbelievable.
thinking we won't actually be completely art house wankery all the time.
Yeah.
We're actually going to pick something that normies
You know.
would watch.
Normies.
And by normies we mean children. Anyway, Super Mario.
nostalgia emotions, bro.
That's right.
Well, yes, we'll get onto that. But Super Mario is directed by Michael Jelenic, or Itch, and Aaron Horvath.
Mm.
Yeah. It's,
Two massive names.
yeah. I don't think either of them had
Very
really directed
famous.
much at
No,
all
I
before
think
that.
the
Like
first
one or
guy
two
hasn't
films.
directed anything other than this.
Yeah.
Although it does have irrelevant quote unquote directors, like quote unquote irrelevant, I mean, but it does have quite the stacked cast.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, it is an amazing cast. We've got Jack Black as Bowser.
That's all we really need.
That's-
to know.
yeah,
That's
the
all
most-
Jack Black's
most,
in it. That's
The only performance. that
Amazing
matters.
casting.
seriously Oscar for best supporting actor is going in.
Yeah, it was Chris Pratt as Mario, obviously, and Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
So
Which I actually.
Taylor
to be fair,
Joy as Peach.
I feel like some people might not like Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, but I did.
it was,
Yeah, I liked
it was
it.
amusing. So
just has his laugh though, which I was kind of like,
Like
doesn't
Seth
really
Rogen
fit
laugh.
Donkey Kong, you know.
well, yeah. So what do we think, guys?
Well, I actually had a good time with it, I will say. Like, I think the plot was very simple. It was arguably.
Almost non-existent.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think, very, very one-dimensional. It was sort of just things happening to have all these Easter eggs that they could cram in.
Yeah.
That was, I feel like, the goal of the movie was how can we move the plot in such a way that we fit all these Easter eggs in?
Well, yeah. I essentially saw the film as a fan service.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is, and it's done a good job at it though.
Yeah, in fairness, I was like, they do manage to actually make a movie out of it and not just, oh, look, it's that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Well, that was the thing. Like, it was fan service for like the adults who were seeing it who like grew up with
Mm.
Mario, but
Mm.
also like it was like a fun kids movie.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
enjoyable.
It was enjoyable.
Right.
It just had a lot of action. Plot doesn't really matter. The characters were likable. I mean, you didn't
Yeah.
really need anything.
Mm.
You all
else.
know, you know all the characters, or most of them,
Yeah.
because Nick and I saw it with a mate John, right?
Yes.
And
Big Mario fan.
yeah, huge Nintendo fan in general, and he loved it.
Yeah.
And like it was almost contagious, like the energy of watching this person love it. So
Yeah.
you start to get into it.
Yeah, I was in a theater of children, and all the children are like going crazy, and it's like,
Well, that's the thing.
gets the
like,
energy going.
Like, because I went in, I had rock bottom expectations because
Mm.
it was made by Illumination, who make shit films.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
And
enjoyable too, though.
Most of the time, they're shit.
Yeah.
And then also, I don't play, like, I've never played a Mario game except
Really?
Mario Kart.
Right.
Yeah,
I was at 4.
Exactly.
I played
Otherwise,
Wii
and I don't know
Mario.
anything about like the lore
Yeah.
or like I don't remember what power ups and shit do and all that.
Neither.
So I went in like knowing nothing, and it's kind of hard for someone like me to kind of get the most enjoyment out of it as possible because
Mhm.
again, I'm either not the two people who are this movie's made for are kids and people who love Mario, and I'm neither.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
Yeah.
But I was surprised at how much like I did have a good time.
Yeah. And look, I'm like encouraging my dad to go see this film with my little brother because like
Yeah.
it's made in such a way that if you had no clue whatsoever what anything was going to be about, you can get an enjoyment out of it as an adult.
Mm.
Like there's so many little things in there, the innuendos.
Yeah.
Like God, what about the star?
Star.
The star.
Oh yeah.
How funny is that star?
The
The depressed, like the loopy,
Wait.
You know how there's all the cells in
Yeah.
the pit,
they get
and there's
pit.
the loopy
There's
star.
that
that's-
ghost star thing.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
going,
Yeah,
yeah.
Like
We're all
Is that
gonna
an actual
die.
character?
it has to be, but like
Yeah, oh,
how
yeah, yeah.
funny
Yeah.
is that?
Just like real cute.
Like hold on,
It's just like, oh, we're like all doomed. I'm like,
yeah, and at the very
Bro,
end,
I love the opening scene with like the Cooper army, and they're like attacking the penguins.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like just throwing the fucking snowballs. It's like just real simple, like funny humor.
Yeah. Well, like, and then at the very end with the star, like after it's like an end credit scene, and it's like the movie's over now, and that's a sad thing. But like, is it sad? Because you know, what's after nothing?
Mm.
Like, it's just
It was very out of place, in a good way.
Yeah.
Like it was just kind of going against like the sort of very basic kind of structure that the film has, and then it has this sort of really existential crisis star ghost thing in a kids movie. It was
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's obviously going to go straight over their heads.
yeah,
But it made
and
it
it's something
more
where
enjoyable.
when you grow up and then you get to go look back at the movie. You go, oh, I
You're
didn't,
like, oh,
didn't
yeah.
catch that as a kid.
No, you do.
although I will say as well, not like there is certainly a lot of jokes and whatever in it that are not just for kids.
Mm.
And for me, and this is going to link back to the thing by far that I like most about the movie, Jack Black as Bowser.
Oh,
He's so good
Yeah.
as voice characters. And
Mhm.
again, I couldn't even tell most of the time it was him, except when he was singing.
yes.
Yeah.
Because there's like a little dub on
Yeah.
the voice. Not dub, but like they've done something. There's some sort of special effect
I don't know.
on Bowser's voice. There's no way you can make that
No,
sound.
no. Yeah.
It's
Like
great.
it's Jack Black. It's undeniably Jack Black. But there's
The goat.
something to his voice. Yeah, he's the goat.
But he's, yeah. And like, again, I was going into it thinking, Jack Black voicing someone who's not Poe.
Oh,
You know,
isn't he
like,
amazing?
I'm
at that?
such, I'm such a huge Kung Fu Panda fan. Like, I have
Yeah,
such
but he does a
nostalgia for those
different take on
movies.
it.
And this was obviously very different. He's playing
Yeah.
a villain in this.
Yeah. Although, let's be real, Bowser as a villain is quite adorable.
Yeah.
As in, like,
Yeah,
the
he's-
motive of, like, the entire
Just wants
film.
some love, bro.
Yeah, he loves a princess.
Yeah.
So he conquers the world. And, like, that's a pretty tried and tested motive. But the way they go about doing it,
And
it's just
speaking on
funny.
Peach, I think they actually do a good job of, rather than her just being like the damsel in distress as she is in the video games, they
Yeah.
do a good job of making her like an empowered woman that isn't just a Mary Sue who just can
Yeah.
do anything she wants and just
For sure.
destroy everyone.
Well, she's a badass.
yeah,
but
like, she's actually got a bit of
Like,
light to
yeah.
it.
but it's
it's like-
realistic in the sense
Yeah.
of, well, she can't do everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
So-
Speaking of that, the whole empowered thing,
Mm,
I read, because I like reading just a variety of different views about
Yeah.
different things.
yeah.
I was reading a review and like they were like hard right wing conservatives being like, "Oh, this movie sucks because Peach, like Mario's a simp." Peach, it's like, oh, she shows him everything to do, but like he's the man. I was like,
What?
the fuck?
What does
Yeah.
that even mean?
The whole point is that, and it makes total sense. She lives in that.
Yeah, so she
mushroom
knows
kingdom.
what
She's
it's
lived there her
like.
whole life. Like, no shit, she would know how to do stuff.
Yeah.
Mario just got there. How the fuck would he know how to do anything?
Exactly.
And the other thing
He's
as
a
well
plumber.
is like he's not even like they show like with the dog scene, like as plumbers they're even kind of fucking a bit
Oh,
Confident.
that's like the
incompetent.
first
So
scene.
it's like
It's
he's already
hilarious.
set up to be somewhat incompetent. I think that's
Yeah.
part of, as much as there is not much development in the movie, but that is one of the main developments in terms of Mario's character, as he goes from being incompetent to actually
And that's a
being
good
able to
thing.
do
Yeah.
something.
And I liked, and also the film, even though of course in the games he's always rescuing Peach and whatever, I liked the twist that he was rescuing Luigi
Mm.
because it was like, it brought in sort of the family elements, which I surprisingly thought was done pretty well.
Mm.
And stuff, and I think it's just as strong, if not stronger, than just him saving a damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in the
definitely.
games. And I thought it was a surprisingly like, full of heart movie. I didn't really expect it to.
Yeah, it was wholesome.
Wholesome, that's right.
Yeah. I thought the animation was quite nice. Like it's similar to
Yeah, I think
everything else, but the
I think
colors
the-
were nice. The
I think
places
the
look
opening
cool.
scene was really well animated.
Yeah.
With Bowser. Like Bowser in general, his presence was so cool.
the one thing that kind of threw me off is I don't think that the voices were synced very well.
Really?
With the animation, I don't know if that was just me.
I
but
didn't really
was watching
see
it
that.
and it was like especially Chris Pratt as Mario, like the voices,
Oh,
they just seemed to be like I don't know, the way that they were speaking didn't really match up with how the characters were animated. Peach as well with Anya Taylor-Joy, there was a bit of I don't
Yeah.
know, but
And there's not a lot of, I would say, there's not a lot of depth or detail to the animation.
no,
Which,
No.
yeah,
because Illumination are, and this has been a fact like forever, they've been a much cheaper company than
Yeah.
like Pixar.
mm,
And like when you watch
Pixar's
Pixar
animation
movies
is
like
amazing.
Soul or I
mm,
don't know, the latest
Toy
Toy Story,
Story.
or whatever, like the animation is insanely good, and like they have rain, and you might see a cat or something, and the fur looks real, like it all looks so picturesque.
Mm.
Whereas this did look like, I don't know, like a show you might see on TV. Like
Yeah.
it was basically animated. They didn't do like depth on the characters' skin tones
No.
or anything. It was just kind of like, that's it.
yeah.
This is what they look
But
like.
that's quite true to Mario.
Oh no,
in a
yeah,
sense.
for sure. It's just kind of like, I guess it's a bit more basic than
Mm.
what it could be.
I do like the take of really going in with him being from Brooklyn, or them, Mario and Luigi being from Brooklyn, and they've got like the whole Italian American family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was really
And
good.
also that was a cameo. Just at the
Yeah,
start,
they
they have
have-
the ad
yeah.
for their
Mhm.
company. That
Yeah.
was the cameo from the real, like, original Mario actor.
Yeah. Wasn't there something about him not liking the new film?
It wouldn't
Or like
surprise me.
not watching it? Like I swear I saw a quote saying he's not going to watch it.
If you didn't,
I'm
watch
not
it.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought, and John mentioned this to our friend. Basically, the only way the plot moved forward was by going to another place.
Yeah.
Like, as you
Yeah,
said, it was like we need to go here to do this so that we can
the
do
other
this.
thing that was funny is they go, we have to get the Kong Army, and they get the Kong Army, and then the Kong Army immediately gets
Destroyed.
thrown out of the plot.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just like,
That's a big.
Well,
that's
again, that was
what
just
a-
to bring Kong into
yeah,
it.
That's
Yeah,
a big
that's-
thing.
So poor
It's a
writing.
big. It's a big thing. Like, and I noticed this is it's a short movie, but by the time it ended, I kind of sat back and went, "Oof."
yeah, it was,
Like, that's
it's just
dumb.
very quick.
It felt long, and what I mean by that is because they pump so much action scenes and whatever for kids to keep their
Attention
TikTok
span.
brains.
I don't know if
Yeah,
it felt
TikTok
long, though.
brains.
Yeah.
For me, it felt like just very fast moving, lots of stuff happening. It didn't make it necessarily feel long. Just
What I
just
mean
jam-packed.
long, like I meant, yeah, like it's full.
Yeah.
Like when it ended, I didn't go, "Oh, it's over."
Well,
I
you
went,
didn't really get
"Okay,
a, you didn't
that
really
is the end of the
you
you
movie."
didn't really get a chance to breathe.
No,
Yeah,
is what you're
it
saying.
just
Yeah.
keeps going and going and going.
There's not like a quiet
I
moment.
agree with that bit. Yeah,
And-
it's like slowing down.
Yeah, and like obviously for me as someone who's, I'm an adult, whatever, I like sort of movies that are paced a bit slower than that. I don't need endless action to be entertained.
Yeah.
I definitely was feeling like it could
He
have slowed
does.
down a bit,
Yeah.
at points.
It's just the trade-off. Well, obviously, we're not its
Yeah.
target
no,
audience,
of
are we?
course, and I completely think I understand why they did that.
Mm.
But there are other like kids movies again, like Kung Fu Panda or something, which for me, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, Toy Story, they're
Much
like my-
better done.
They're like my peak kids movies. And I think
Yeah.
the reason for that is because they do actually have a balance. They have a lot of scenes of characters sitting around or whatever talking, and you kind of get more attached to the characters. And I definitely didn't feel attached to any of the Mario characters.
No. The
Like,
only.
if Luigi
Yeah.
got shot in the face, I probably
Oh,
would've
it is
laughed.
what it is. The only
How,
one.
how good was the scene with Dry Bones where Luigi's in like the forest?
Yeah.
That was actually good.
It was haunting
Yeah, it was
almost.
pretty
It was like
scary.
an actual.
As far as
Actual horror scene.
For a kid's film.
Well, and for Mario, like you just wouldn't picture that. Like
Well, it was like I remember playing like the Mario game that was on the Wii.
yeah, Mario.
Dry Bones is like one of the like the actual Mario game.
Oh, see, I only played Mario
Nah,
Kart.
see, the Dry Bones part of that game was one of like the main things that I remember from.
I remember playing it on the DS a bit back in the day.
Oh yeah, I didn't
You remember the DS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
DS is legendary, man.
But I still can't get over the Peaches scene.
Where he
The
sings.
singing.
yeah.
Like, isn't that just?
It was so good.
It's so Jack Black.
It's so good.
And like
Mm.
the other day, I went and watched there's like a music clip of it. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Like it's actually Jack Black
Oh,
dressed as
yeah.
Bowser playing
I've
a,
seen
like a pastel pink piano in like a pineapple or something strange like a
just a Jack Black moment, really.
yeah. And it is
Jack Black
amazing.
vibes.
He is such an incredible sort of talented but also just humorous guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't want to sound like too much of a stan because I'm not.
You can be a Jack Black
But
stan.
I think I'm just about almost a Jack Black stan. I love everything he touches.
Yeah.
Mm.
And like nothing's perfect. It won't ever be, but he's just great.
Yeah.
For
Nice.
sure. He's just one of those actors where, like, if he's in the movie, you're probably gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to think.
The other
of
thing is
another
that
actor like
he was in Mandalorian, wasn't he?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's-
apparently that was terrible.
He wouldn't like that though.
No.
But the thing is, I kind of feel like Jack Black isn't a Star Wars type of personality.
Wait, no,
He's
you'd
a
never
bit-
see
he's
him.
a bit too silly.
Yeah, you'd never.
Well-
He's a king.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is so I watched Mandalorian,
Mm.
although I probably won't anymore because this latest season was fucking terrible.
Mm.
But yeah, that episode that he was in was probably like one of the worst episodes of the show I've ever seen.
Isn't Lizzo in it too?
Yeah,
Lizzo's in
Lizzo's
it.
is like
And
wow.
like I have nothing against Lizzo, but she can't act. And even Jack Black's performance in it was terrible. And that's not because he's a bad actor. It's just because like
the role.
he does not fit the role
Yeah,
of
it's-
this character. It
Mm.
was just very weird.
Yeah, Jack
and-
Black
and-
just
and-
doesn't seem like a character who would be.
He doesn't-
in Star Wars.
He doesn't take on like the persona of a character. I was sitting there going the whole time, "That's Jack Black."
Yeah.
I don't
Acting
believe,
as Jack Black.
yeah, I
Because
don't
I haven't
believe,
seen it.
I don't
Yeah.
believe anything that he's saying as this like whoever he was.
Mm.
It was just kind of like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
you know?
No, Mandalorian
But
used to be
he
so
was much
good.
better in Mario.
Yeah, I really
I
like
used to be, the first 2 seasons were great. I haven't even watched the third one just because of how
I
bad
didn't
I
watch
get old.
the book of Boba Fett.
Didn't watch that either.
Like no, like I don't have Disney, so I don't support them. But
Yeah.
but no, that's sad.
My
That's,
dad actually, he's the one who like has the Disney account that I use, and he's a huge Mandalorian fan.
Oh,
For his birthday, this is not a joke, I bought him a Baby Yoda fucking figure for his desk because he loves Baby Yoda, and I got it on his desk, and he's like,
Speaking of not supporting Disney, it just reminded me. I watched the Simpsons movie last night again, and there's like
Oh, that's awesome.
you know the scene with Bart where he's got like he puts on like a fucking, I don't even know, just like Mickey Mouse. He's like, I'm the mascot of an evil corporation, and then Disney bought the Simpsons. So that joke just like ages so good.
I ended up, because in the last 2 podcasts I've talked about how I haven't seen Puss in Boots 2.
Yeah.
I ended up watching that in the space of this last
Oh,
podcast too, and I just thought I'd throw it in there for like the continuity. It was amazing,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, and also,
Like-
that is a perfect example. That is an amazing kids'
Exactly.
Yes.
film. A lot better than Mario, and that's not saying Mario is a bad film.
No.
But like,
Yeah.
Puss in Boots has a lot of action.
Just that Puss in Boots is very
It
good.
has a lot of action. It has a really interesting animation style.
It's so much better than the
And it's
first
got a
one.
lot of layers.
Yeah, like there's
Yeah.
so much depth.
thematically as well.
Like
I think-
the theme of that movie is you have one life.
Live
you
it to the
should-
fullest.
Yeah, live it to the fullest because you're gonna die.
Yeah, but
And,
also like
he literally
respect.
he gets
that
chased
fact.
by death.
Yeah, it's
Which is,
awesome.
like,
And
so
how
nuts.
scary is that guy too?
And that's but
The
that was
whistle.
The thing. I was watching that going, the fuck? This
Yeah.
isn't a kids movie. Like getting chased by death. It was-
The one thing I do like about films like, one of the things I like about films like Mario or Super Mario is the messages are so simple, but they're positive and they're so simple that kids can pick it up. You know, like,
yeah.
be nice to your family, you know, look out for each other, things like that. Never give up, right?
Yeah.
They're some of the pertinent themes in Super Mario.
Yeah.
And a kid can see them. You ask, so what does this movie mean? They like, and you give them those couple hints, and they'll be able to find out. You know, that's a good
What
thing.
does this movie mean? Mario's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Don't think any kids will be
Don't
saying
hire
it like that.
Italian plumbers.
Don't hire Italian plumbers. But yeah, no, it was also a great soundtrack. Like,
Yes.
some pretty good
Had some
upbeat
good-
songs in
yeah,
it.
some
It
good music.
like obviously the Mario themes. John again was telling us that like almost every Mario theme was in it at some point.
Oh yeah.
I never knew that, obviously. Not that much of a fan of Nintendo and stuff. But like Mr. Blue Sky, right? In the film.
Great song.
Just matches the film perfectly.
Yeah.
Upbeat, fast paced, Mr. Blue Sky.
I mean, it had tons of. I can't remember, but like
I got a couple
just-
here. Holding Out for a Hero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Thunderstruck, Take on Me, and Mr. Blue Sky.
Thunderstruck.
They all fit it.
Thunderstruck is in Mario. Why?
Yeah.
But like it's
It's
good.
fucking sick.
Yeah, it's
Nothing
good.
will ever beat the Ragnarok Thunderstruck scene.
What was that one?
I don't remember.
When
I feel like Ragnarok is just kind of sad when
I
I
keep forgetting.
Thor vs Hulk.
Oh, there's that one. Yeah.
Oh, is that when he does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. I'm pretty
I don't
sure.
know if that's
I
Thunderstruck,
forgot.
bro. Isn't that Hold on, let me look it up.
Oh, it isn't. No, it isn't. I just made a fool of myself.
I don't even remember.
No, it's What is it? Because it's not
Immigrant Song.
Immigrant Song. It's Led Zeppelin. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
But anyway, do we have anything else to say about Mario? I didn't really.
Not
Nah, I think
really.
that's about it.
I think. Yeah.
I feel like we covered it quite extensively.
Pretty simple. It's made a shit ton of money, and I think the
Oh,
reason.
yeah,
Like
well,
you just mentioned
This is something
that.
that this is something my brother was telling me. It's really important for this movie to make money because if they are able to make more of these sort of Mario and Nintendo product movies, I think because apparently Disneyland, they're losing money on them right now,
Yeah.
and whoever owns the Nintendo stuff, they're gonna start obviously putting more money into their
Yeah.
worlds.
Yeah.
So then that's gonna start competing with Disney.
Mm.
So that could have like
Well, Disney
Massive.
Shift in the power.
Yeah.
We always talk about it, but Disney hasn't given a shit for like 5 years, and like all their kids' movies have been giant disasters.
What's the other thing? All the
Because
movies-
they
What
try-
other,
all
what
their
other
movies
ones
are
have been there
failing.
recently?
So if these movies pick up money, that's going to start threatening Disney, which will be
Yeah.
interesting.
So this isn't Disney. Yeah, it's
No.
good.
No.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, and like this, like Disney tries to do a bunch of different things with their movies, and they just seem a bit disingenuous. I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie, although not a lot of depth, not like an amazing kids film like Puss in Boots or any of that, it knew exactly what it wanted to do.
And it didn't.
It didn't try to do anything else. Its only goal was like, we want to entertain our target audience and
Yeah.
respect the fan base that this property comes from.
Mhm.
That's it. And they did that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I respect that. And I'm happy that it's going to make, like, it's on the road for $1 billion.
Holy shit, that is a lot for
That's
a kids' film on Mario.
It's been like a
I
shocking
think, to be
thing.
fair, Mario was
Wasn't-
like one of the biggest. What do you call it?
video games.
I'm
Yeah,
hoping,
just him as a character.
I'm hoping
from
that
that.
we get a
I mean,
Legend of
without
Zelda.
Mario,
movie.
that'd be pretty cool.
I never got into that, you know.
Legend
yeah,
of
I
but
played
Zelda
one
would be
video
cool.
game. I want to.
Yeah,
I want to.
It's just still though because it's just such a big.
I
license.
haven't played much of Zelda either, but like I've seen footage and the world is so cool. And
I-
like if I was a kid and I saw a Zelda movie, that'd be great.
I want a Wii Sports Resort film. That's what I
That would
want.
not be a movie.
Oh,
That would
that's-
just be
that's
like
what I want.
They did like
tennis
a-
for
yeah.
No, the sword
90
fight.
minutes.
Like the
You do like
journey. I love
Yeah,
that shit.
sword play.
you do like
yeah.
a a movie. You do like the Rocky movies, but with Wii
Well, people are
Sports.
like they're gonna do
Wii boxing. Yeah.
yeah from first perspective as well. It's
Yeah.
like 4D.
So your hands
You
just
sit-
floating
sit
in front
down
of you.
and, like you start getting hit.
That's the new experience.
No, yeah, for you. Sorry.
They could market
Someone
that
just
for
like,
sure.
walks up to you and knocks
Cinema
you
stuff,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no. Should we wrap up Mario?
Yeah.
Nick, you want to start with your rating?
I'll give it a 6.
I'm
Enjoyable.
also giving it a 6. Yeah.
I'm a 7.
Very nice.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Fair enough.
All
Right
right.
now, I'm going to introduce the next film, which is quite literally the opposite of Super Mario.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was
The next
afraid.
film is where Super Mario is for little baby kids, and it's 90 minutes. The next film is for adults only. It's 3 hours long. Directed by Ari Aster, who is a great director who's made Hereditary and Midsummer, both fantastic movies.
Mhm.
Beau Is Afraid.
Yeah.
He definitely
Joaquin-
fucking is, man.
Joaquin
Jesus
Phoenix.
Christ. Talk about it.
A few other people in it, but more or less this is Joaquin
Yeah, Joaquin
Phoenix in the
Phoenix.
movie. He's the only consistent
Yeah.
part of it.
Who are the other standout names? Is there anyone really?
Oh, there's
Nathan Lane is in it, who he played like Timon in the original Lion King,
Okay.
and he's been in like Modern Family and stuff. He's a notable
Yeah.
actor. He was the only one I
Who
recognized.
plays
immediately.
the wife of Roy?
She did look familiar.
Yeah, I can't remember what she's been in.
No. But
Oh, what's wait? Is his name Roy or the surgeon guy? Is it Roy or Roger or something? Starts with an R.
the
It's Roger.
Roger.
Yeah.
the
His wife
military
is
dude.
Grace.
Oh, your brother.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, Roger and Grace.
His wife is Grace, and she's.
Isn't that
played
just
by-
such a weird
Birdman.
dynamic? That whole
The,
thing.
the actor who plays Grace is in Birdman. If you've seen
Birdman. No, I was gonna watch that
Oh, and
yesterday
you-
actually, but I watched
and
Lady Bird
Haven't seen
instead.
Birdman?
No, I was gonna watch
It's
it, but I
crazy.
watched Lady Bird instead. 'Cause Birdman's on Disney, and I don't support.
I hate Disney.
No. Before we sort of get into the film, I guess,
Yeah.
how stupid is it being 18 plus?
I mean, I understand.
I want
okay,
to
no, but
let
yeah.
Isaac.
So I understand
talk here.
18 plus because it makes sense as a thing if the movie is, a disturbing movie.
Mm.
However, I just think that the mental age of a viewer is completely different to their physical age.
Mm.
So going to a film, they might be disturbed as a 23-year-old, or you would get disturbed, you wouldn't
True.
get disturbed as a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the reason this is prevalent is because Marlon and me were going to watch it together.
Yeah.
At,
Just recently.
Yeah, right. At
South.
South Bank. Fucking South Bank.
Yeah.
The
We
dog.
shouldn't be saying that.
Well,
no, but
South Bank is a
we should not be saying that.
South Bank is a shit cinema anyway. I don't care if they're
No, I
doing-
love it. They've got great shock dogs.
Look, he
No shit.
he's doing his job.
and they're cheap.
This guy's doing his job. Fair enough. But just fuck you. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, so no,
gonna watch
you
this,
wanna get
guys.
this? These fucking like age ID things for movies is just getting out of hand. So I was going to another movie, Evil Dead Rise.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was R18 as well. That was more justified because it was horror.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
guts and all that
Mhm.
everywhere and whatever.
Mm.
But like my friend and I showed up to this thing, and I got my ID check, no worries. And he went for his ID check, and he's underage, he's
Yeah.
17, and they go, "Nah, we're not letting you in because you don't have ID."
Mm.
He goes,
Yeah.
"Don't worry, I have a photo of my thing on
Mhm.
my
Yeah.
phone."
Yeah.
And like he showed it to them, and they were like, "No, you have to have a physical one." And so,
Yeah.
so even though he showed them a real photo of his
Yeah.
thing, they were like, "No, get out. You
See,
need to have a physical thing."
But it's,
Oh my
it's
god!
like if it's alcohol, okay, sure, makes
Yeah.
sense. But it's like it's a fucking movie, man.
See, but
It's a
even
fucking
Here's the
even
thing, like, I think once you hit the age of 16, You could watch it.
Well,
It really doesn't
I
matter.
personally think anyway it should have been MA 15 plus. I don't think
Well,
it should have been
I'm trying to
rated
think.
18.
Oh,
I really don't think like there was like one sex
Just
scene.
because there's a disturbing amount of genitals.
yeah.
Yeah, but even then, like
The opening scene is literally him crawling out of a vagina, bro. Like, they're
yeah,
getting-
but
I don't know.
it's
It's not.
not
But it's just like already says
like
that.
men. No. Men is MA 15 plus.
I think that the
Men is
difference
15
that
plus.
Beau Is Afraid is a lot more thematically intense. I think when you're watching Beau Is Afraid, you're very stressed, and I think that maybe puts it over.
I don't feel stressed.
Well, I was very stressed watching
Are you afraid? Are you anxious?
It's just like you don't know what's going to happen to the
No.
character.
But yeah, I personally don't think it should have been 18 plus. And also, I was in New South Wales recently, and they have genuine digital IDs that accept you
Yeah,
into
I just don't
clubs
think
and
they-
bars.
but we-
Why doesn't Queensland?
Because we don't have it, so.
But why? Yeah, but why? But no. But why don't we have something like that?
I think
It's such a trivial issue. We're behind.
bro,
We're behind.
Like a wild
It's like
west.
with ATA.
P plates cost
ATA
$170
come in
bucks.
To
Yeah.
then come into
Yeah.
laughter. It's just,
Well, anyway, onto the actual film.
yeah.
Yeah, after that side rant,
Yeah.
but ideas.
Oh, well,
Okay, so what do we think? I'm very keen. What do we think? And
Okay,
what the hell happened?
See, it's.
Yeah.
I said to Marlon after, I said, like, I genuinely need to sit down, read some stuff, watch some stuff to really try and think about what the fuck this movie actually is trying to say.
I said that too, and then
But-
didn't do it.
But then, to be honest, you sort of sit and I think I saw Ariasta say this too, but the film is actually incredibly simple in terms of what it's trying to say. And at its base, it's really just like sort of how the attachment style when you're a child with your parent
Yeah.
can lead to all that trauma, which
Uh-huh.
then surfaces in a certain way when you become an adult and affects how you're going to live. And you see that with, and this is another point I'd like to say, is I think that the best way to interpret this film is through psychoanalysis. If you use that literature stuff.
I was like studies philosophy, guys.
And psychology.
Anyway,
In other words, he's cuckoo.
anyway. But yeah, like you see in the film, right? There's heaps of Oedipal complex things happening.
Oh.
Like his mum and what's his love interest name? Elaine?
Lame.
I don't know. It starts with an E or something.
I don't know.
Tony?
No, it starts with an L.
I don't even remember.
It starts
No,
with
it's
an L.
Elaine.
Oh,
It is Elaine.
It's
Okay,
Elaine.
okay.
I
Anyway, so
apologize.
whatever her name is, it doesn't matter. But
It's all.
she in some of the scenes gets swapped out with his mum.
Yeah.
So that is an interesting so obviously
Yeah.
she somehow reminds him of her in some way because she's very what's the word, sort of dominant. And this is more of a reach, but for example, like the spider, like that could be displacement of his sort of fear of his mum always being
I just
around him
don't-
and watching him, and
Yeah.
Just started realizing this. Marlon won't get it because he hasn't seen it, but a lot of the stuff like the replacing of the mum and whatever girlfriend reminds me of Lost Highway.
yeah,
There's a lot of scenes in that. There's a scene where he like comes out of the coffin or something.
yeah.
And he like looks over and his girlfriend's there, and then it changes to the old mum. And I was
Yeah.
like, similar things maybe.
How good
It's like
is Lynch, man?
similar
I love
vibes.
Lynch so much.
I totally know what you guys are talking about now.
You should go watch Lost Highway. Marlon.
Okay.
The one thing I will say, and this is sort of detracting from the film, is I think it lacks the precision of Midsummer or Hereditary, and
Definitely.
in
It's too
that
long.
there's
It's way too-
yeah, it has all these things that convolute, and I think that's why it's so hard at first glance to figure out what the meaning is until you take that step back and ignore all of this extra nonsense that doesn't really do anything other than sort of putting you in the mood.
I
But
feel
yeah.
like it's a case, and this happens a lot, where he's thought of all these different ideas,
Mm.
and
Didn't know what to
and
do
he's
with it.
filmed it all, and he's like, I like this stuff
Yeah.
too much to not cut it, so I'm just going to keep it in.
That's basically me with every assignment. It's like,
Dude. Yeah, well,
I
you were
love
just talking
this.
about how you had to
Don't
cut
get
down words today.
yeah,
But I thought I was thinking about it on the way here. Oh no, just before I came here today. I really enjoyed the start, the world building at the start.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
I was like, that's
It's-
clearly
it was
LA.
so hectic though.
It's a shithole. It's clearly LA.
Well, no,
Yeah, I think. Well, I think isn't it?
It's gotta be, right?
But I think it's actually a.
That's
Made
the
up,
only
I
thing
think
I
it's
was
a made
thinking
up
about
city,
watching
isn't
it. I
it?
was like, that's
yeah.
Los
Well, that's
Angeles.
like similar.
I don't
to
know
the
if it's a
end.
real city. I think they might have just made it up.
As in,
But whatever it's parodying, yeah, it'd be like
Yeah.
It's definitely
or even just New York. Like,
I think it's
like, you
downtown.
know, like when we just have all these fucking
Logan.
homeless people and like they're like
the switch.
and just insane people. My favorite thing is when he like sees the guy who's all tatted up and he like looks at him and just starts fucking sprinting to his apartment.
Yeah.
If you want to
and
talk
then-
about a movie with like a range, you've got like a 20-minute or 25-minute play flashback thing.
And that was
That's
honestly one of my
that's
if not my favorite
semi-animated.
part.
Yeah,
You've
I got
got
to
a
talk about
guy
that in a
at the
second.
start who's running around naked, stabbing
Stabbing people. Isn't that shit? Yeah.
It's just
Like-
so many things happening.
What did they call him? They had like some stupid name for him too.
Well, it wasn't
Just-
Just the naked
the
man
naked
stabber or
stab.
something.
Yeah,
It's
the
just like a
naked
dumb name.
naked stabber man or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
naked stabber
The
man.
naked knife. Who knows? Anyway, and then I sort of got lost in the middle. So I really enjoyed the start. Not lost in the sense of I don't understand, but more the film lost me. Right, I lost interest. Right.
It wasn't good at maintaining momentum.
Yeah.
But this
And-
is the
but-
thing that I differ though, is that I think that for me, I was very interested in the film the whole time. Like I was like,
Yeah.
because I just genuinely had no clue where they were going to go.
Well,
Because it kept getting to points where I'd be like, how is there still 2 hours left? This has got to be the end.
Yeah, because you kept checking your phone.
Yeah, I kept trying to figure out like how they were going to like continue the plot, and it just kept going in genuine like ways that I
Yeah.
could believe. I was like, wow.
But again, the semi-animated scene, I told Isaac like right after it happened. I kid you not, I was completely awake, fully like just zoned into the film,
Mm.
but little bit like sick of it because I wasn't enjoying the middle. Then that happened. I swear to God, I like fell asleep.
Yeah, that part of the movie was, I think,
Like, it was-
to reset your stress levels. You know,
Like,
to,
it was like a
calm
trance. I kid you not, I didn't actually fall asleep. I remember it all, but I swear I was in a trance for however long that was.
It was very good that scene. I
It
think.
was, yeah. And it was really out of place. It sort of reminded me of like something similar to Sir Toll.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the Hungarian short film.
Yeah.
But and then lost enjoyment of the film for a bit again, and then the end.
See, when I think about the film and like how I said it doesn't maintain momentum, the problem is I was like, it would start off with something like a scene, and I'd start getting really, really interested.
Mm.
And like really holding my interest. I was like, wow, this is so interesting. And then it would just fall,
Yeah.
and then it would start again, and it would kind of keep this pace.
Yeah.
Like you have this whole thing in the city, and he gets hit by a car. I was like, this is
And
great.
it cuts.
I was like so interested in it. And it started off with him in that house, and I was starting to be interested. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. And then it went on for a bit too long. You had that scene of him like in the car with those chicks, and he was like doing
Smoking weed.
How
Smoking
funny
crack or
is
something.
that kid though? She's
The girl,
fucking
the paint drinker.
off the rails.
That's the thing. So
Off
like
the
they
rails.
like doing this scene smoking crack, and I was like, this is
No, they go,
whatever.
No,
it
they
was.
go. He goes, "What's in this?" And she goes, 3 things.
So it kept going.
It's probably
and,
just
like all
like-
this stuff, and I was like,
Yeah,
all right, I'm
man.
starting to like lose interest because it lost the tension as well.
Mhm.
And then at the end of that part, she starts chugging paint. Which I thought was
That was insane.
Fucking hilarious.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, well, it is. It
Well, it
is
was confronting, but it was fucking
It's like at
hilarious.
first you're like,
Yeah.
What is she doing?
But then I'm
Oh,
like,
shit.
Yeah.
she just, and
but
then
then the
like,
way the
mum
mom,
comes
the
in.
way the mom reacts is when it's
Chugging
funny because she's like,
Yeah.
"I see you for what you are now."
Yeah.
You're
Well,
trying
I
to
was-
replace
And he like
what's-
ran straight through a glass door.
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah. And then when he meets the woman in the forest,
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, you've got a massive piece of glass stuck in your forehead."
Yeah.
Just pulls it out.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Starts bleeding.
I also thought that another hilarious scene was the bathtub scene with the
With that guy
just
yeah.
spread eagle on the
And then the spider triggers it, which is why
Yeah.
another thing I think that if you go back to my point about
Yeah.
psychoanalysis,
The-
that really works as his mother being displaced. Because I think that if you want to make sense of a movie like this, there's no point going, oh, what is actually real, what is fake? Just the whole thing, look at it through dream logic, you know? Because it's
I totally understand what you're saying. Yes.
because it's from
You're just watching it like a Lynch movie.
yeah, because it's from his perspective. Well, you know, it's from his.
He's an
perspective
unreliable
of the-
narrator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the whole point to me is just to completely go. It just the film itself uses dream logic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the way that the play with the orphan people then like
Mm.
connects to him, and it's sort of then he has this whole delusion of his life, and then the end where he's like, if his kids are like, oh, if you're infertile, how did you have us? And then he has that realization where he's like, oh shit, this is all just in my fucking head, and then boom.
Yeah. And I
Also, how funny is it when what's the ex-army guy finally like tracks him down.
Oh, and the dad
the
just
guy-
blows up.
But
and
you know,
shit.
yeah, but you know the guy who's like doing the
Yeah.
cool thing, and then he just pulls out the gun from
Oh,
inside.
yeah. The music, yeah, and the
But
guns.
this,
Yeah.
but this is the thing, and I just did not understand this. And again, we're like, oh, dream logic or whatever.
Mm.
But like, he comes in, like, starts this army guy just starts mowing these cunts down.
Yeah.
You know, whatever, and he's running through, and then he falls over and like machine guns his own chest.
Yeah.
Oh my
He
god.
was fucking dead.
Was
There's
that
no
not
way he
hilarious?
was
Then
dead.
they move it to his shoulder when he keeps shooting.
He's like, no, but it like went through. You could see it like went through his neck and
Mm,
shit.
yeah.
And he didn't move. And then at the end, he just jumps through the attic window
Yeah,
just to
because
be stabbed in the head by a literal.
But
dick.
that's because
Oh,
I don't think.
fucking-
So I don't think that obviously the fucking dick is not there.
Stupid.
I don't think.
The fact that
is
someone
why
got
I don't
paid
think-
money to make a fake.
Yeah,
biggest-
I think it was
with
anima-
Prime Man,
was
it's
that
the-
was that not animation?
No, it was definitely CGI.
Yeah.
Someone still got
No,
paid.
dude.
Oh,
I reckon,
as
no,
in-
I reckon it was puppetry.
No way.
Seriously?
No, dead ass. I think it's puppetry.
That's
It
even-
didn't look CG.
Search it up.
It was too textured.
It was hilarious though. Whatever it was, it was so out
It
of
was
place.
so.
You said it.
The film almost took itself. I mean, I know it's obviously a comedic film, but
Mm.
it took its comedy seriously up until then. That seemed to just go to the extreme.
Like silly.
Yeah.
But
But I mean, when you look like from what it's trying to say in terms of the rest of the film, I think it can make sense. I just don't know why it had to be a giant penis.
yeah.
Because is it trying to be like, oh, I don't even know, like I don't know what that's supposed to mean in terms of his father. The giant penis took over his father and like enslaved him up here.
So how
Sort of
funny
shit.
is
like,
this?
it doesn't really work.
The sex scene
Where she dies.
where she dies and says it subverts your expectations.
Yeah, that's why I think it's so funny.
Yeah, because you're like, okay, he's about to die.
It's just
because he's
the-
full on freaking out.
The one thing that I just thought it was like a whole thing where she wasn't even a real person because when they're carrying her, it just looks like a wax figure.
Yeah.
Alright,
exactly.
So, quickly,
Mhm.
I've just had a look. So it was prosthetics.
That's
Oh,
so
wow.
And they
nice.
had a guy in the dick with the arm.
That's such a good job.
Stabbing the arm. And then all they did with regards to CG was just like how it had a face and all that. That was CG.
It reminds me
But
of like
the-
the.
Yeah,
majority
because
of
the
it-
face is what.
Yeah.
The majority of it, you can kind of tell because it
The
looks
way
like
it
it looks like one of those balloon men outside of car dealerships. It's like kind of
It reminded me like with the praying mantis things of the green thing from Attack of the Clones
Oh yeah.
and the Geonosian pit.
Yes.
the-
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seemed like a
That's
strange
strange.
choice to me. I mean, like
It
it was
was.
funny, which I guess
Yeah.
is the idea, but it still just seemed strange.
But no, yeah, with the sex scene when they're carrying her, she's like still in that one position and they're carrying her out into a different room. I was talking to a friend about this yesterday. So funny.
yeah.
And one thing, I think another thing as well that I think is so like in a way great about the movie is it's so fucking nuts that we get to the end. There's literally a giant dick that stabs a guy through the head,
Yeah.
and I went, fair enough.
Mm.
Like I didn't even question it. I just went, yeah, that probably is what would happen.
Well, Isaac can attest to this. I was just pissing myself because I wasn't expecting it. Like I wasn't. I'm sorry. I've never seen that in a film before.
Yeah.
It was sort of like
First of its kind.
like I mentioned men again. Sort of like just what the fuck.
Yes.
But I think
Sorry.
I think with
Men is still for me. For people who don't know, Men is a film that came out.
Go
last
watch
year.
it.
Don't watch it.
Go watch it.
That movie like fucked us all up when we watched it.
It's just
Because it was
disgusting.
so fucked up, and like I still think I don't know if like Beau Is Afraid didn't even come close.
No way. Not at all.
I think Man is just disgusting with what it did. Like why?
Yeah.
It made no. It just,
No, it had no. It didn't add
It
anything.
didn't really artistic.
And it just kept going. It just kept going and going. It's
Yeah, you were like, okay, one's fair.
It's like,
Two. I mean,
it's like, bro, what?
it was like
We're
6
not,
times.
We're not
wasn't it?
saying you guys don't understand what we're saying, but
Because we're not gonna say it.
if you want to watch Men,
It's called the birthing scene. Just.
yeah, you can watch it at
Yeah,
your
of course it's called Man.
Well, that's what I'm calling it.
Oh,
like
okay,
that's
that's fair.
that's a nice way to call
Yeah.
it. You know.
The
It's certainly not.
continuous birth.
But yeah. Ugh. Anyway.
But anyway, yes, I wanted to move on to the themes. What did we think the overall message theme of the film is?
Well, that's the first thing I said about sort of like trauma from your attachment style with your mother and
Yeah.
how that leads into like, the repressed side of your life, like the way he lives.
Mm.
You know, he's very isolated, and he always has to ask what he should do.
Yeah.
He's
Like,
oh,
needs. Like he's been coddled his entire
Yeah.
life, and now he can't escape it.
And it's sort of funny, even just like her parenting style, where she's like, "I gave you so much love,"
But it was all
but then
done forcefully and shit.
Yeah, but it was like, and if he had anything that was not to do with her, it was like, wow, you just hate me.
What I, excuse me. What I think is interesting is that you know, there's so much stuff that happens in the movie,
Mm.
and the movie actually reveals what I think the message is, or the main source of conflict right at the start with the whole mum on the phone thing,
Mm.
Yeah.
which I thought when I was watching it immediately that it was just a bit innocuous. I was just like, oh, okay, that's just a thing, move on.
Mhm.
And then he goes on this adventure trying to, you know,
Mm.
Odyssey, they call it.
I wasn't even thinking about his mum. And then we get to the end, and the mum, you know, is this actual big sort of
Well, yeah, plot twist. She's not dead, by the way.
Yeah.
big source of conflict in the film.
Yeah.
And all this.
Yeah, because the whole point is he's got to get to his mum's funeral. Essentially.
And I was like, wow, like they actually just revealed the big point of it at the end, right at the start. You don't even realize, because then you start watching all this other crazy shit happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know,
That city is nuts.
And I love that there is so many hints within the movie to what is going on. It's I think I said to Marlon pretty early on into it. I said it's going to be like a Truman Show type thing.
Yeah, you did. You
And
must
it
have
did.
felt so great when
And I-
like
and I
there's
was- It was a bit like
stadium.
this is a spoiler for this movie, but have you seen The Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
When you know how there's like the plot twist with that.
yeah.
I called that.
I see dead
When I
people.
called that, I was like, "Fuck, I'm fucking
Oh
genius."
my god,
It's
we
when I-
forgot
when-
the spoiler alert at the start.
Oh.
Guys, there's spoilers in this.
When you call when you-
Surprise.
No shit.
I love just like being able to call the plot twist before it happens. It just feels so good.
But that was
yeah.
only one of them. It was a couple, With
Yeah,
the mum
yeah.
and shit.
But I don't know. It's just like
I remember laughing so hard when he got to the funeral and they showed the coffin. And it
There's
had
no head.
Yeah.
I just thought that was
and they
great.
had the little what's it called? This the sign thing for this is where the chandelier hit her on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
like the
that's so
plaque.
great.
Yeah, the plaque.
It's
That's
fucking
it.
hilarious.
So ridiculous.
No,
Could you
well-
imagine you walked into a house and they have a
But-
plaque for where someone fucking got decapitated?
one thing that can
Yeah, door fell on Isaac here.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Oh.
no, what confuses me, right, is he says, "Oh, I realized that wasn't you."
Yeah. So because
Because of the birthmark. Yeah. But then just doesn't react.
She does.
No,
he does.
he doesn't.
I think-
he doesn't acknowledge it until she's there. Like, is it just has he ignored it
Yeah.
and just thought, okay, that's my mom, she's dead.
You don't see a realization in his face. You kind of just see him go.
He
and
looks
then
at his
goes
mum
back
and then
to sleep.
and then he goes and fucks a girl and kills her.
Yeah.
Kills her.
Which
Is that real?
what?
Real?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what's real. The whole movie's a bit of a.
And that's the thing, like, again, a lot of very disjointed pacing or whatever, and I think it's because he just had all these ideas and he wanted to put them in. Like, the whole old man thing could actually be cut out of the movie. I don't personally think it needs to be there, but it was so
But
cool
it's just a good
visually that it was
scene.
great.
Yeah.
Ditto with, I really loved the flashbacks when he was a kid.
Yeah.
He met that girl. I was very fascinated.
How
by
funny!
Really good
that-
casting.
That
Yeah.
actor
How
is
good was-
just like a young.
Yeah.
young looking
How
face.
good was that cast?
Yeah, it was really good, and I was really enjoying it. But again, that didn't need to be in the movie, not really.
Mm.
But it was just really fascinating, and he was just—they had a lot of consistent flashbacks, and then they just stopped.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, oh, we're definitely going to go back to something there, because remember,
Yeah.
like the mum was pulling the daughter out of the room or something.
In the
In the
not
bed.
Titanic.
Yeah.
In
And
the
then,
bed.
and she's like,
Yeah,
"You
and
idiot! It was."
And you're like, oh,
True,
what,
was it-
what happened there? And then you just don't know.
But when
Well,
you-
because it
when-
completely stopped.
but
I
you
didn't
know-
like that at
You
all.
know,
Yeah.
with the bathtub, that whole thing that's actually a memory. If it's a fucking memory, how does he like
Oh,
have
that
a third?
fucking scene.
How does he have
Right,
a third person point of view?
Yeah,
It's
and then the
still
third-
that he was dreaming about some trauma that I think that's again when the psychoanalytical
Yeah.
point of view comes in because he's obviously displaced himself from that moment happening.
Yeah, but yeah, because then there's the third person point of view of him getting locked in that attic as well.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange. Wait, so hold on.
This is definitely like I'll just say for people watching, like this is definitely one of those movies when we talk about it on the podcast that you should watch before we
Yeah.
talk about it because this
Yeah.
conversation is probably completely redundant for you guys.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you talking about?
I
But
guess
it is such a big thing. You can't really talk about it in a straightforward way like we
Yeah.
did with Mark.
Okay, and I'm going to say this now. The movie is 3 hours long. But
yeah, it's
I like there are 3 hour long movies where you really feel the length, but I think because for me this movie had me just sort of always like sort of stressed
interested. Oh
and,
yeah.
you know, like oh shit, what's gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of with it the whole way, so I didn't really feel it dragging.
I think for me, if you're gonna have a movie that's that long, 3 hours, the you completely need to justify your length.
Yeah, I
if
will
you
agree
can sit
that
there
it
after the
needs to be that
movie
long.
and be like, you could take that whole chunk out, that chunk,
Yeah.
that chunk, then you probably it's probably too long.
Mm.
Whereas if you pick something, I don't know, like The Godfather.
Yeah.
Nothing in The Godfather you take out. All of it is so beautifully paced, and it
Yeah.
totally deserves the length.
Yeah.
Everything
it
builds
has.
on it.
Yeah, but
No.
Beau Is Afraid is just kind of like, this is
I feel
happening,
like,
and this
yeah.
is happening, and then it ends. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
I came out of it disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I'd seen a friend give it 9 stars on Letterboxd like a day before. And Ari Aster, I didn't really like Hereditary. I need to rewatch it. I watched that ages ago.
Hereditary's
But
fantastic.
yeah, I haven't.
Have you seen Midsommar?
I gave it a
Have
7,
you seen
right?
Midsommar?
I've seen Midsommar. Loved Midsommar,
Yeah.
right? I
So
came
I
out
love-
disappointed.
I
I was like,
love
okay, that's 3 hours.
Hereditary's amazing.
Isaac and I had gone to such an effort to see this, obviously with the ID stuff.
Conundrum.
Yeah, and then for it to be 3 hours, went in middle of the day, came out, it was night, it was dark, it was cold, it was raining.
Yeah.
I was like, but it's not bad by any stretch for me. Just
No.
disappointing.
Well, on a technical level, it's fucking brilliantly made. It's some
Yeah.
brilliant
Yeah.
fucking cinematography
But-
there.
yeah,
And the
that was
animation
another
is
thing
great,
they
the
made.
production design and all that's
I
great.
really liked the cinematography of the nighttime at the end.
Yeah.
I thought that was beautiful.
That looked
Yeah.
great.
With the
That
lake
looked
and
great,
shit.
but
or
I actually think one of
whatever
the
it
best
was.
shot parts is him in the city at the start. I mean, all the the bathtub we were talking about, that shot was great. But actually, one of the best shots, and I remember it, sticks in my mind, is remember he got chased by that tattooed
Yeah.
freak?
Yeah.
And he ran into the room, and he grabbed the door and shut it, and they had an overhead angle of the door shut.
Yeah.
And then they had that really wide, flat angle where you got to see both, and it was 2D.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so interesting.
Another scene that
That was
I
so
really, the
cool.
one where they do they show and then they keep swapping around. When he turns around, they show the different views of the city.
Yes.
That was fucking
Yeah.
insanely
Yeah.
good. That was just so awesome to have that in the film.
No, there was
Yeah.
great moments throughout. Great acting. Some of the scenes I really loved.
Yeah, Joaquin was fantastic as
Yeah.
always.
Yeah, there's no surprise there. He was in The Master, right?
That's his best movie.
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Joker. Sorry.
Master.
Well,
Have you seen The Master?
He acts well in the job.
Actually,
It's just a shit film.
I think I've
but,
seen him in that many movies.
I've
I've seen Her. I haven't seen
Obviously-
Gladiator, bro.
Her's amazing, but that's so out of character for him. All his characters are fairly
He
consistent.
usually
in,
plays
like,
nut
mentally ill,
Yeah, and he
insane.
it's just his voice is so
Murray.
no, he has the, and that's why he's so good as Beau, because he has that sort of anxious hesitant voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, he's an amazing actor,
Mhm.
and it's consistent. But how out of place is it for him to play her? I've just thought of that. Eh?
Yeah,
Like just completely different to anything else.
yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Did we have anything else to say about it?
um,
I'm pretty content with it. Ultimately, I think there are numerous films about it, themes within it. I think a big one is, the perspective of parents on how they've parented their kid and how the kid's been,
Yeah.
Receptive.
are you a good son or are you a good mother? What is the
Yeah.
question?
Well, Isaac was asking the point.
parent-child relationship.
yeah, that was something
Like, are you supposed to sympathize or side with the mum?
which,
or the
but
son?
I think it's rather than that's something I kind of realized after the fact is it's not really about who you're siding with, but it's just in general that both of them are in.
I don't think both of them
Like
are in the right. They're
No,
both
but that's
in the
that's my
wrong.
point.
Yeah.
Is that it's the mother who has sort of brought him up this way.
Terrible
and
way.
that has an effect on his psyche, and
Mhm.
that's why he's the way he is. But just because you are that way doesn't mean you have to be that way.
Yeah.
And you have this trauma. And,
Steps you can do to avoid that.
yeah,
sort
but
of.
I think whether or not it is this whole odyssey does happen, or if it's just I think that his mother does fuck him up even more with the whole therapy shit and so on. So
How
I think
funny
you
is the
can't-
feeding the fish scene? I'm sorry.
where he's feeding
Like at the very start,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
like one of the first scenes we see him is feeding a fish.
Hmm.
Feeding
I love
So
the
simple
court,
mind.
the court scene at the end, and it's
Yeah.
the lawyer.
His
Colin.
lawyer is so bad that he falls off and hits a rock.
Yeah.
And his head caves
Yeah.
in.
Oh,
Very
fuck.
midsummer.
Yeah.
It's very midsummer.
Yeah.
Oh, with like the cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like when the tinny flips over.
Yeah,
You can just see him
it's
drowning.
and then it ends.
And that's that's the thing. I'm sure there are other different themes. I think the old man thing has nothing to do with the parenting thing. And it's more of an allegory, perhaps. It could be a comment on masculinity, perhaps. of like your journey as a man.
And because
do stuff.
he's living in his own world and he's just going and going and not thinking about the fact that people were also looking for him.
Yeah.
And because he was going this way, and they were going like this
Yeah,
direction.
maybe
and
the
just
very
direction.
general thing was that there's always another perspective. There's
Yeah.
always another side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
to the
very good
story.
point. Yeah.
I think that more because that can be taken for anything. The old man thing when he was a boy with that girl and him and his mum. I think all of that stuff in a way can fall under that banner of there's another. I mean, the paint chugging girl. That's a matter of perspective. She was nuts, and her parents didn't even realize. And then it changes.
By the way, when he has that whole hallucination cartoon thing of the play, is that before or after that woman gives him the drink? Because if it's after, you would say it's because he was fucking
I think it was
on drugs. Yeah, it would have
Or
been
if
after.
it was before, it's because he had a concussion. 'cause-
No, it was after.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's also like the sort of because he's so afraid. It's like, well, live every day. Not live every day, but like take those leaps of faith. Don't lock yourself in a room your entire life. You know, it's just similar to the "Got One Life, Live It" from Puss in Boots.
What do we think about the? Do we think?
Perfect.
Do we think that the notes being slipped under his door is just his mum's paid to do that?
That was fucked. I mean,
That was actually
is
the
that
thing.
like-
That was so good. So when I went with my mate and we were watching it,
gaslighting.
is how he left his keys in the door and the keys were gone.
Yeah.
Suitcase,
The whole movie, the movie ends 3 hours later, and my friend turned to me and went, "Who took his car keys?
It was definitely the guy that throws
Who took his keys?"
the stuff in the rubbish, and he's like,
Yeah.
and he's like, "You're fucked." And because obviously because that building is from his mother's company,
You know what?
so obviously they're all in on it.
What would be interesting is, and again, I definitely think this movie requires a rewatch if you.
Ooh, I will be.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is like, at the end, in the court scene where he's getting judged, and it's just this stadium full of people that he knows.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see how many of the characters that you've seen, even very briefly throughout the movie, are there.
Well,
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that guy who took his keys is there.
But
Because
majority
then
of the time it's-
you'll know that he was working for the mom.
majority of the time is so far away though, as in the people in the crowd.
Well, I mean,
And that's why it's like you have to like really slow
and
down.
they have
Take
more
photos.
clues, like when he's in the house, and like they have the picture of Mona, his mum, and then they have all the smaller staff people, and you see Roger is there.
Yeah.
So I think there'll be heaps of clues like that.
I want to rewatch it because I want to like this film more.
The one thing, there's a picture of
Yeah, I
of
definitely
Bo.
think I think the rewatch would make or break it.
Yeah.
I think if you rewatch it and you still
Still
have
have
those
that-
problems,
yeah.
it'd probably be a bit down.
Yep.
But I will say this: a lot of the time when I watch long movies, they get better on rewatch. It's quicker. I often find that the pacing is better.
Yeah.
And I feel like this would probably be the case. And so I don't know.
I have to find out. Let you know next podcast or in a couple.
If we watch it between now and next podcast, which I doubt,
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. Ratings?
Yeah.
Yep. I'll start off. I'll give Beau Is Afraid a 7 as well.
I'm giving it. Oh, you can.
Yeah, I just I thought it could be better. It could be worse too.
I'm giving it an 8.
I'll give it a 7 as well.
Fair.
I think rewatch can make it an 8.
See, I was kind of leaning to a 9, but
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think it's an 8.
You're giving
I think
a conservative 8.
I think it's an 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
A strong 8 for me,
Uh-huh.
but not. Yeah.
Anyway, last film. Isaac,
How are you going to
Well-
take it away.
Eternity in a Day, and
Indeed. Theo Angelopoulos. So I actually saw the last podcast. I rewatched it.
yeah.
And I was calling him Theo like Agripolis.
Oh, yeah.
Acropolis, the
Acropolis
city.
or some shit. Yeah, the Acropolis.
Cl-
And I
close
was
enough.
like, no.
We could say,
Angelopoulos. That's a good name. Man.
Theo Angelopoulos.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
what a film though.
Yeah.
Very.
What a film.
Very. Well, I'd say for me, it's something that I think is a movie where you got to rewatch. I think it's one of those ones where if you really want to, because it just entrances you. You're watching, you're like just really into it.
And
I think you can therefore miss some of it just because you're so in with it in some sense.
see, I think I certainly missed some of it because I do take notes because
Yeah.
I've got such a shocking memory. But like you talk about themes and messages, and I think this just has great themes and messages.
And that's one of the things
off the bat.
and something that Angelopoulos is just so good at doing in both this and Landscape in the Mist is just the odyssey of it is just this journey is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that's just It's like he's the Homer of the modern age, you know.
I have that book and just haven't read it.
It's a dense book.
Oh, dude, have you read it?
No, I haven't read it, but
Yeah, I've read like a chapter.
yeah.
But
Where to start with this? Hey, I think
Yeah,
we could go with thematically what it's trying to say.
all right,
Well, I think. Sorry, you go, Marlon, if you want to start.
you start. You're good.
Well, I think a big thing of what's it trying to say. I think is in the title, eternity and a day.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that is such a telling, important part of the film.
Yeah.
And I love that line at the
Because
end.
doesn't his wife reply that to the question about something about
Yeah,
tomorrow?
yeah.
Because towards the end he like asks her what's going to happen to me tomorrow or something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
And
eternity
she
and a
said,
day.
"Oh, how long
How long
is
is
tomorrow going to
Yeah.
take?"
Eternity.
She said,
and a day.
"Eternity and a day."
And that's such a beautiful line.
And I feel like that is basically what your life is. Your life is eternity and a day, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's the same
Yeah.
thing. And I don't know whether they're saying that as it's that and that, or if they're both
It's
this.
because there's sort of two contradictory ideas, and when you put them together, I think that
It's
is
eternity and it's a day.
yeah.
It's
It
the
kind
same
of really shows like how your whole human experience is very full of these contradictions, where it's like you have to wait for so long, and it just feels like forever, and it is timeless in a sense, but it is also just a day.
Yeah.
And I think that is another thing is like this, because obviously he's a cancer patient, you know, and this is I think his last day before or 2 days before he goes to the hospital.
I think it's
So it's for him.
So you're about to
it
start
really,
chemo.
this is what really like relates to him here, where it's sort of his last day, and he really needs to make something of it for his.
Although he's clearly
his sake.
convinced that he's going to die.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, it must be terminal.
Well, it's
That
also,
sort of
and I
thing.
think it's interesting because this is where you build that relationship with the boy, is that you clearly see that he's not really connected that much with his daughter.
Yeah,
Because they don't communicate on.
she couldn't care less
sold-
that he's leaving.
and she sold
you know?
the house and so on.
Yeah.
So I think, and he talks about how he was so obsessed with his work, and
Well,
and he didn't even complete it, and blah blah blah.
His biggest regret is that he left everything as a draft.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And I think that is why you have, when this boy comes into his life, it's sort of, this is my sort of chance to cement some sort of legacy or something that I have, done.
And how beautiful is it that no one would ever know?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
just
That's-
him
I think that's
sit with
an
it, being
interesting-
content.
Like I'm certain that must be sort of an idea that Angelopoulos wants people to think about, which is like he's devoted so much to his work. Like you're right about
Mhm.
him kind of ignoring his daughter, or like the relationship not being very good.
Yeah.
But like he, devotes his life to his work, does fuck all, like doesn't actually accomplish anything. Yet he does this act to help this boy, and yet that in and of itself, like for his life or for a life, that one action has made that life
Exactly.
worth living.
Yeah.
You've done that, and like
Yeah.
being devoted to your work means basically nothing. You could die having worked really well, and it means nothing. And yet he does this one action, and yet when he dies, people,
I don't.
that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Did you
Like,
notice
it's
See,
justification.
this is what I think is so interesting about movies like this. Is they're sort of very hard to articulate. How what the feelings
Yeah.
you get from there, but they're so strong still.
Mhm.
I think that's just something that's very funny with just works of art in general. Is it somehow appeals to you even when you can't speak on it.
Yeah, and like I guess like the child goes nameless the whole film, right?
Mm.
But that child would have ended up in such a bad position. Like, how haunting is that scene
Where
with
they
the
go.
daughter?
Yeah.
Holy
Going to the
shit!
books. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like, and they're just walking and it's slow.
That's one of my favorite things about the
then
film is how slow it
the
is.
the guy in
That's a rare thing for Marlon.
the guy like in the
Well, I've
military,
known about that,
the
yeah.
military suit from from Albania?
Yeah, so it's Albania,
coming
Greece.
across the border, walking
Yeah.
to him, and then he just turns and he's like, "No, come back."
Yeah.
It's just intense.
half those bodies are alive, at least. Like,
Yeah, they're moving.
yeah, some are moving,
Yeah. So I don't
but
know.
I think
what-
some are dead.
So I'm
but
not
like,
sure what that's supposed to represent because I don't know enough, obviously, about the
Conflicts
conflict
and-
between the two. But
it was haunting. It was
it's
ghastly.
still haunting them. Yeah.
It
I
was
couldn't
like,
even tell. Were they like?
I think some were
Were
frozen.
they impaled or were they like strapped?
Well, they're just kind of like on the
Yeah.
fence.
Some were. I think some were trying to get across.
Yeah, I don't know. I
But
think
I swear some were like dead or
Maybe
like a
that's what
warning.
it
yeah,
was.
it's
Maybe
supposed to
they're
symbolize
trying
the
to get
people.
out of it. And they're
Maybe
just
that's
all
what it is.
dead.
Oh, maybe because it symbolizes how they're trying to. They would all these
Get
people
this
tried
life.
to get out,
Yeah.
out into Greece, and he's going back into this place, which
Mm.
I don't. Yeah. I don't know
Well,
enough about-
eternity in a day. You also look at it. Okay, so he's got a day. The kid's got an eternity.
Yeah.
You can look at it from that
That's
way
a
as
good
well.
one as well.
And I think that's just so beautiful. Is this last act he's done hasn't left it as a draft. He's left it unfinished in a sense where it can now go and be complete. The kid,
Yeah.
this kid
And
can live a full life,
What do we
which
think?
isn't a draft.
What do we think about the thing with like the neighbor?
The music.
The music, yeah. But what do we think that sort of relates to in regard to the whole movie? Because I wonder if the idea that he doesn't know who this person is or what the sort of effect he's having is kind of related to the fact that with the boy, he's not going to really know how positively he affects his life because he's not going to see him ever again. And yet it's still something that you engage in
Well,
and that he does.
Yeah, I sort of guess in a sense he's a really lonely man. Like,
Yeah, so
right?
it
Like,
represents,
it's a
I think it
comfort
sets up
sort
how
of.
lonely he is.
Yeah, how lonely is that this person playing music back to him? Never see him, never interact.
Yeah.
Like, because he says he wants to go over there.
Yeah, but then at the same time that you don't
He's
ever really want
reclusive.
to-
Yeah.
You don't want to find out.
Why would you
all
ruin
of
something
the
when you love it
Yeah.
or like it or content with it?
Yeah.
But I really love it. It's called like diegetic music,
That's within.
diegetic score. So it's played in the
Yeah.
scene and they hear it,
Yeah.
but then it's also just
Yeah,
a score overall.
non-diegetic is when it's outside of the.
Yeah. No, it's really good. I love it. It's throughout the whole film. There's like, when the band comes onto the bus
Oh,
at the end, that turns into the score. It's awesome. And I love it.
Yeah, how good is that bus scene too? Because they go on this bus and they end up where they started.
Yeah.
So they've just gone on a trip for the sake of going on a trip, which is really, it's just an enjoyable scene.
Yeah. Well, it's his last day. He just wants to do these things that he wants to do.
Yeah.
Like, and then the poet throughout as well.
How interesting is that for an idea as well? Like the poet who
He's trying to
doesn't
finish
know
his poem.
doesn't know the words. And
Yeah.
He has to pay people for the words. That's a cool idea. Like I love that whole scene there. It's the poet is writing his poem.
I'm sure you guys will agree. Although because this was my first Angelopoulos film.
Yeah. Same.
It was very Tarkovsky.
Yeah,
It was big time Tarkovsky.
I think
I've only seen a little bit of Tarkovsky, but 100% see.
I think I know what you mean. It's the same sort of. I don't know what the word is for it. It's sort of dreamy in a way.
Yeah, but
it's very and
the way
slow
it was-
and,
the way
and very humanistic.
It reminded me a lot of Stalker, especially in certain scenes. Like you mentioned the neighbor scene. It kind of has the shot of him in the apartment, and then it kind of pans over and zooms in across the building,
Yeah.
or whatever that was, and you're filming it, and you see it there. But yeah, and then it cuts and he's slowly walking along the beach.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
very.
I
I
know
felt
what
it was
you
very
mean.
Tarkovsky, especially the music as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned
The score was great.
Yeah, it was.
Like really good.
Yeah.
I must admit, one of my favorite things, and this is just from a technical point of view, one of my favorite things in the film was the slow panning shots into a memory. Like the very start, it's a slow pan from his house into him as a child in his family
On the
house.
beach.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's just gorgeous, and it's so consistent. It's done every time there's a memory. It's a slow, really slow pan, and I'm not afraid of a minute. I normally, and I've said this to these two so many times, I normally don't enjoy old foreign films or older foreign films just because I find them hard to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta read this. It sounds so lazy. Read the subtitles. It's a different grain, etc., etc. I didn't have piss off. I didn't have a single problem with this film in that sense.
Yeah.
I've had that with every other one almost, but this was just flawless in that
Didn't
sense.
you have that problem with
Stalk.
With
I
Stalker?
didn't like Stalker. No, I found that
At all?
No, I liked it. No.
How
No, I liked it. I could see the merit in it. I found it tough to watch. That's probably a better way to put it. Because it's old, because it's foreign.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
And then you add on
I
top
get it,
such a
but
thing.
you're wrong. It's I get it.
But then you add on top such a thematic and sort of.
I respect your
Deep.
opinion.
But no, did not have a single problem with this, and that's one reason I loved it so much. Is because I've found something that is something I normally won't like.
Well, I think you
and
should
love
watch Landscape in the Mist because I'm gonna go and watch.
Do you prefer Landscape?
Landscape in the Mist is still top 4.
Did you give it a 10?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's-
obviously, yeah. If
one
it's
of
top
my-
4.
yeah, it's Landscape in the Mist is just so amazing.
Yeah.
Did you watch it on Internet Archives?
I don't even know.
Why have I not used
think
Internet
I watched-
Archives before?
I would say I probably did.
Yeah,
that's why I
same.
watched it, But I
Why did I not use it? Because you told us to. Eh?
Yeah, I think
Best thing on Internet Archives, you can watch the despecialized editions of Star Wars.
I haven't done that yet. We will be doing this.
Dude, fucking the despecialized editions.
Also, what's different?
Well, they take out all the CGI bullshit.
dude.
Jabba.
so many versions.
No, dude, that whole scene is cut. They added
Really?
that whole scene.
Oh.
They cut that scene.
I think I've got the original
They
discs.
cut all this bullshit out of it. It's great.
And then the other
They make Han shoot first.
Angelopoulos movie that I want to watch, Ulysses Gaze, is on YouTube. I don't know how good the subtitles are, but that's
Yeah,
what's
also
up.
the traveling.
Well, that's
Traveling
also
Plays is a very long movie. Though.
That's-
So that's one of those ones where you really have to be ready to sit down and watch it.
that's also another problem I have with old foreign films is when they're hard to access, and then you find a copy and the subtitles are completely
Well,
off
see-
sync and shit like that. It just pisses me
This
off.
is.
Like,
I remember. Do you remember, Nick, when I was trying to find Angelopoulos movies ages ago, and I just could not.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I guess recently that they became a bit more.
Well, I don't even think they were on like Internet Archives.
No, well, like, it's the thing. They weren't on any illegal movie sites, you know.
so you
it's-
didn't want to buy it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's. I
I
mean,
don't even think there's a place to buy it.
Well,
I
see,
don't know. Maybe
I think finding
on Letterboxd they have nothing for where to watch.
finding a film, right, that you want to watch or that you have been recommended, it should be easy. And the fact that a lot of these old foreign films aren't makes it more of an effort that you put in your mind as one of the reasons. But like, I've got a surf film from the 70s. I've posted it in my bedroom. Never seen it. You know,
Just
not anywhere unless I buy it. I just don't want to do that. You know, it's that sort of principle.
Because the thing is that the money's not really going to those people anymore.
It's going to the
It's like
services
unless they
that are
still
providing
have royalties, I guess. But
yeah, and still even then it's like a pittance.
yeah,
But
because a lot of those movies are just so small
Yeah.
that they're not really making much from it.
Yeah,
which is quite sad. But
Well, especially if you've made an art
Morning
film.
of the Earth.
Like, if you've made an art film, there's no way like those guys would get stakes in it because it's like the studio would get complete royalties from it because it's like, hey, we gave you money to make this like crazy film that no one's gonna watch. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know.
I want to ask, what did you guys think of the symbol of color? Did you guys notice that the only like it's sort of like
I didn't
it's
think about
quite
it.
a flat.
no
Color.
yeah. So his life is bland, white and black, grey scale sort of thing, right?
And the boy is wearing yellow.
Yeah, the boy's wearing
Yeah.
yellow, like sort of symbolizes happiness or youth or
Mhm.
life,
Yeah,
right?
and
Or in all the
then
flashbacks, there's colors. On the bus, there's colors. You know,
Yeah, that's a-
and then
that's a
but
good
then
point.
the only thing that throws it off is the hospital and the burning flame scene. You know, there's the
Yeah.
red colors, and I think that symbolizes something else.
I think a flame is always symbolic of, you know, energy or
Yeah.
hope or anything like that.
yeah, but it's the burning of a body in like a ritualistic sense,
Yeah.
and it kind of threw me off. And the hospital, obviously, the red light is love and pain, suffering, death, because it's in a hospital. But I think, and the main thing I noticed in this film is that his memories have color when he was happier, younger,
Yeah.
more youthful.
Yeah.
The kid is the only thing left in his life that brings any color, any happiness. And I thought that was just gorgeous, and I just kept noting it. I was like,
No,
wow.
that's a good point.
And I think it makes sense too, right? You know,
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure. Yeah. I didn't have much to say about it, honestly.
I have 4 pages of shit to say, which is too much, and
So
it's all just
I imagine there's more to say then.
it's all just like ramble, honestly. But I really just love this film. I think
The acting.
you know,
Acting
Bruno
was-
Guns is
Bruno
amazing.
Gans, yeah.
Yeah.
How's the Jack Bill? It's one of my favorite
Oh, is he in that?
movies from the 2010s. So he's Verge. So he's the sort of soul that Jack is talking to. And he makes the film.
He's
Yeah.
played a similar role in Wings of Desire or Angel
Wings of
Over
Desire is also Slapper.
Angel Over Berlin is the cooler title.
Yeah.
That is a better title.
And he
Not
also
Wings of Wings of Desire for English translation.
It's shit.
Angel Over Berlin's awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
And
what
it
a
makes,
name.
It makes way more sense
Yeah.
for what the
No.
movie's about.
Yeah, Wings of Desire.
Whoops.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
completely
We were talking about
different,
that. There's no desire. Plays Hitler incredibly well.
Is
Yeah, I
that
still
in,
haven't seen
Downfall is
Yeah, I haven't seen
great.
that.
Downfall is
Still haven't
awesome.
seen it.
Such a good film. But anyway, he's great in this as well. You know,
Yeah.
obviously he's plays an older character than what he normally plays, considering his age. He was younger actually younger in this than in Downfall, but he plays a much older character. Just a great actor, and it was really good. But back onto
Even the boy is a good actor.
yeah, I didn't like how he went nameless.
Does he ever get a name in it?
No,
Yeah.
which I think like it adds to the point. It makes sense, but you know, like the whole message of the boy is he's not going to know the
I think that's
impact.
part of the thing.
Yeah,
it
it works. I just would have liked a name. The child feels strange.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's a bit like
Baby Yoda.
it's a bit like in Tenet when they
Protagonist.
the protagonist. It's like why he doesn't.
Fucking cringe.
At least in this movie, there's a reason for why you don't get the name of the boy. It's because it shows that sort of he's not going to have this long lasting connection.
Yeah.
You know someone's name, that sort of is what is implied.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with Tenet,
But also,
it's like
I
it's
think
just
the
protagonist,
fact that
why?
he didn't even know his name in a way added emotional depth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he's like doing all this shit for him, he doesn't even know
He
his
doesn't
name.
know him. Yeah.
Which
Well-
is what I think is interesting.
and you see as a genuine character from the very start when the kid's getting chased by the child that's getting
Yeah,
chased by
the
the cops,
police.
and he just straight up opens the
Gets
door.
the-
No hesitation. So he's clearly just such
Yeah.
a genuine person,
Mm.
but has done all these things that led up to a life where he sort of doesn't feel that way about himself.
Mm-hmm.
And this, yeah, as we said at the start, this one actor's fulfilled his life that he left as a draft, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful message and story, and it's done perfectly. Well, not
Yeah.
perfectly, almost perfectly. But back to the color for a second. Just looked at my notes. There are fleeting moments of color in almost every interaction he has, but there's there's no permanence to it. Like the guy that comes across when he's sitting on the bench wearing a colorful suit,
Yeah.
1 second scene, completely gone. The kid's the only color permanence in his life.
Yeah, I think it's consistent.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie. Yeah.
And yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you said not perfect movie.
Mhm.
What problems did you have?
See, it's not really problems. Like I've got, I don't really have many
more that
problems.
It didn't hit
I just-
the notes that it could have hit.
Yeah.
I've,
Yeah.
I guess. I say.
I haven't really thought about problems I have with it. I just don't think it's perfect.
I'm the same, and what I was going to say is just that when I finish a movie, even if I really like it, like especially if you're going to put a number on it,
Mm-hmm.
like when I finish a movie and I sit there and I go, okay, you know, I'll have a feeling in my brain instantly. I kind of know what I felt about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I really like the movie a lot, and it's like super well done.
Mhm.
I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I did connect with it emotionally, but not as much as I have done for other movies that I may rate a bit higher.
Yeah.
And it's just that kind of like, yeah, I finished it when that was really good. I didn't really think about the things that I had problems with. I just kind of, you know, you get that sort of, this is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And that's like when we give our ratings, you'll see.
Well, one thing I didn't like was the book ending. I'm kind of getting sick of them. They're in like every second film I watch. Like it works in this film, but I'm getting sick of seeing them. You guys know what a book ending is, right? Starts, ends, same place.
Yeah.
Same
yes,
thing,
yeah.
right? I'm getting sick of them. Like, we watched a film.
The Simpsons movie does that actually.
It's like
Simpsons movie is a cinematic masterpiece.
it,
No,
wor-
better than
it
it's
works
ever
well
been.
in this film, but I'm just getting sick of seeing it
I think
everywhere.
It works for movies where it's
Citizen Kane.
where it is a very
Simpsons.
I don't know what the word is.
I'm just seeing it.
Where it has a very like for an Odyssey. This movie's
Yeah.
honest. It makes sense to show where he started and how he's ending in the same place, but it shows how different he is.
Can I say, interesting that we describe it as an odyssey, which I agree.
Mhm.
It's almost half the length, almost like a little bit,
It's a little bit longer.
little bit longer than
half the length. Yeah.
of Beau Is Afraid.
Yeah.
Yet I feel like it accomplished a lot more.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's
the
completely
kind of-
right.
like this one, Eternity in a Day, is clearly Angelopoulos has. Like I guarantee the script is probably like 3.5 hours, and he has the like ability to go nuts like that.
Well, I also think it's.
I don't know. But I'm guessing.
But I think the message is a lot simpler than Beau Is Afraid's
I
message.
still think Beau is even I'm
But the
be
message-
imagining
the
this,
message
I'm pretty
of
sure
that-
Ari Aster even said that he was afraid that the message in Beau Is
Yeah.
Afraid was so simple and obvious that
But like
it would have been too
maybe the message
much
is
that way.
too broad so sorry, not too
I'd
broad.
agree.
This message
Too broad.
in what Beau Is Afraid.
Too broad.
No, I think yeah, it's too broad in Beau Is Afraid, but the message here is more applicable. Like Beau Is Afraid is almost a personal
Oh
message.
yeah, okay. It's more a message to everyone's life,
Yeah.
whereas
Beau Is Afraid
Beau Is Afraid is to this
sort of-
scenario.
Yeah. Which is one thing I love about this. Like sitting down throughout the whole film, you're like, okay, I get this.
I can relate, even if
I
this
can
isn't
relate.
my life.
Yeah, and I think it's a good message that like I didn't
think,
sit through Beau Is Afraid and go, okay,
but also,
right.
but also, like
That's so deep.
eternity in a day, it is the universal message.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a single person on earth
Yeah.
who can't relate
And-
to the message because it is literally life.
And I think that is
Eternity
probably, this is, I've only watched 2 movies, so it's pretty big guess to make.
Yeah.
But I think that is what Angelopoulos goes for, sort of really connecting to just human existence
Humanity
as a whole.
almost.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be human, and what does our life, entail?
But in an emotional aspect,
Yeah.
because like Blade Runner tries to answer the same
Yeah.
question, but that is
it
actually
looks at it from a
noir movie.
I think but I did really feel connected to the message of like, I loved hearing it out. I loved the journey to get to the end or the start even in that sense.
Yeah.
And I came out of it thinking, okay, I already knew this, but this has reinforced this, and now I'm going to think about it more.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great thing to do for a film. And
I
wanna ask a question.
Provides a new, refreshed lens on things you kind of already have a feeling about.
What do you guys think the bikes symbolize?
The what?
The 3 bikes in the bus scene. Do you guys remember that?
Well, see,
I had no clue.
I don't really. I'm struggling to think what most of the bus.
Yeah.
Scene.
Well, obviously there's a poet on the bus as well,
Yeah, there's the
along with him for the journey.
and then there's the guy with the flag.
The red flag again. Red
Yeah,
flag.
What's
youth.
the red symbolize? Because I thought maybe it's an Albanian flag or something.
No, but it wasn't.
It doesn't have
The
the
Albanian
Albanian
flag
logo.
is awesome.
It doesn't have
It's a
the
really good flag.
whatever that thing is.
That's the message.
No, the Albanian flag is
Fuck
awesome.
yes, obey.
No, but I just thought it has to be in there for a reason, right? Obviously, it happens twice.
Yeah.
What is it? And
Movement,
It's possible it could be a biblical reference.
maybe.
I don't know, because if it was 4, I would say it's 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but
Yeah.
it's 3.
But the other thing with 3, well, I mean, just bikes.
It's the 3 wise men.
It's just, I think maybe represents something to do with movement.
As in
You know,
continuing, sort of
yeah.
always.
Well, they're in motion.
So the opposite of what he did his entire life.
Well, that's how you ride a bike. Is you to stay balanced, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
Quickly.
But
No,
then,
actually,
then,
that's-
then you have to ask
that's
the
awesome.
question, why is it 3?
Mhm.
Maybe that's just because it looks nice, but
It did look cool.
I don't know.
I loved the cinematography in this film.
Yeah.
As I said, the slow pans, even the color scheme.
Well, I
was
think
just
the fact that,
great.
like as Nick said before, that it is very much his work is very similar to Tarkovsky.
Maybe I have to-
tell
One
you
thing,
that it's
one thing you can never knock
beautiful,
against
yeah.
Tarkovsky is his cinematography.
Maybe I have to watch more Tarkovsky if I love this so
Definitely.
much.
Unless I don't know. I mean, Tarkovsky is I think maybe everything you hate in a foreign old film.
But the thing
Well, I
is,
enjoyed
if you watch
that's
Solaris,
what
I
I
think
find
you
is
would
weird.
despise
That's what
Solaris.
I find weird with Marlon though, is he likes this, but
Then doesn't like.
Stalker is very similar.
Stalker was also
Stalker
really
a lot
long, was it
longer?
not?
Yeah. How much
Stalker
longer
is
is
super
Stalker?
long.
Really
It's like
long.
almost 3
I think
hours.
that was pissed me off as well. This was such a comfortable watch.
I'm trying to
Watch-
think.
what's
Have you
the
watched
one
Mirror from Tarkovsky?
No, I watched the other one, the one with the burning house and the letterbox
The
picture.
Sacrifice.
That was
How
pretty
good is
good.
that shot? Nick doesn't
Yeah.
like The Sacrifice, but
But that is an
I
awesome
love-
shot
I
with the
love
burning
this.
house. Yeah,
The shot was great. But
I love how it's actually a house burning down
Well,
too.
he again I could be misremembering it, but I'm pretty sure he the camera originally like jammed,
Oh no,
so they had to I don't know how they do it.
it's like the
They must
Matrix.
have had to redo it.
It's like-
didn't they just burn it twice?
yeah,
It's like the Matrix
was it a
scene.
bit like Stalker? How they had to reshoot Stalker
Yeah.
because the fucking color came
The
Oh my
best,
God.
the best story for that, in terms of
Reshoot.
is in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. There's a scene where they blow up a bridge. They actually got permission from the Italian government to blow it up, and they blew it up and didn't press record.
Oh my
And so they had to go to a different country and ask the government to find another bridge that they could blow up, and they blew that up.
So
Have you seen?
how imagine being the director when that happened and you're just like
There's another. Yeah, there's another scene with
Just
explosives.
losing your shit.
There's another scene with explosives. It's like going around TikTok in the Matrix of the wall blowing up,
Yeah.
and Keanu Reeves just full on slips and ruins the shot.
Doesn't.
Yeah, it's like again.
unlucky.
Like-
bro.
Yeah,
Matrix
but
is a slappy movie.
Tarkovsky didn't actually direct that many movies.
He did 7 films.
Yeah. I thought he did way more.
I think that's a good thing.
Stalker.
Well, my favorite thing about Tarkovsky is just super critical of like so many other directors. like my favorite thing is that he just hates 2001.
Does he?
He hates it.
That's why
he
he
made
makes
Solaris as a direct opposition to
Right.
it. Yeah.
He's clearly on crack.
Well, no, but his point with 2001 is that it doesn't have that humanistic feeling, and that is again going back to Angelopoulos being a lot like Tarkovsky.
Yeah.
Because he felt like 2001, but that's for me the point in 2001, and this is gets on the whole thing about what sci-fi should be, but 2001 is about where technology can take us, you know, whereas Tarkovsky really
It's not a
really
story
doesn't
about
agree
humans,
with.
it's a story
Yeah,
more or less about like nature.
Tarkovsky doesn't agree with like that's what sci-fi should be, and so Solaris is very much about the human condition
It's also
through this future lens,
heavily influenced by the USSR.
What his work?
Yeah.
No, he's fundamentally opposed to the US.
Yeah, no. But
Do you
it's
mean
still
in
influenced
the
by
lens
it.
that it's depressing?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I
And
think
like-
that's a lot of USSR
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Most Russian
I haven't
films
seen
are
Come and
depressing.
See, but
But
One
even
of their
Ru-
first films ever was
Russian
Battleship
literature. But the
Potemkin,
thing is, I
which was,
think
like, depressing
I
as
just
well.
think all of Russian literature is depressing, even before the USSR.
because you've read a lot of books.
You go
too,
back
right?
to you go back to Dostoevsky. It's just like
Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment. I remember when I first read that, I was like, I'm gonna.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is like obviously he's Russian.
Yeah.
Is he?
That is correct.
Tarkovsky.
Okay. You gotta be careful with these things. You guys know a lot more about him than I do, but it's clearly influences what you brought
Well, I
up.
don't know if he's Russian. It's Soviet.
Soviet USSR. Yeah, he's from there.
Same shit, really.
Nick's searching it up. We'll have an answer in a second. But like, there isn't that sort of, I guess, depressing influence that could be applied in 2001:
Yeah.
Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
You know.
I think actually when you go back to Angelopoulos, he's not as depressing with his work.
No, this is a gorgeous film.
No,
It's,
but
the message is great. It's
I think despite them both having a very similar goal and, quality of work, the same way they do it, I think because of their sort of, their lived experiences, the way that they actually ultimately produce these movies is just slightly different, but enough to really show you how they're coming at it from different backgrounds.
it's not to say the Greek
No,
sort of that situation. Not that we know much about it.
I don't know.
It's
nothing
not
about Greece.
incredibly depressing. Like you've got the sort of the trigger of the stories is this bunch of stray kids that are getting trafficked.
Yeah,
Like that is
Yeah,
incredibly sad and
I
clearly
wonder-
very real. But
there's more optimism, I think.
there's
It's like we're in this terrible situation, but
there's a way out.
yeah.
Not a way out even. A way to improve it.
And I feel like Tarkovsky, maybe I'm gonna think more about Tarkovsky, but I think he is a lot more like just there's a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
We gotta fucking this
Which is
what we
lived
are.
experience.
His philosophy was just life is suffering.
Well,
If you make a movie and it's not just a dream of just the suffering we have, you don't know how to make movies, bro.
we should try it.
Fuck you, Stanley Kubrick.
I just remember with Tarkovsky.
Stanley Kubrick, you have fun.
I'm pretty sure when Tarkovsky met with the author of whatever, I think the book is called Solaris as well, and they like completely just changed what the book is in the movie. Like what happens, it's just he was like, what the fuck?
Well, no, I just remember.
Tarkovsky was shit.
Yeah.
Just do whatever he wants.
Because thematically they are so different, and it's just like fuck.
I just remember as a piss take, a friend joined Letterboxd for the specific reason of giving Solaris half a star,
Really?
and that just cracked me up so much.
What?
Well,
I don't
no,
know.
I think
Why would you watch Solaris?
He's just taking the piss out of us on Letterboxd, but it just
The only reason he did that was because he was just rating good films half a star.
yeah, great
shit
films half a star.
1 star.
Yeah, it was amusing, but like that's for some reason a standout point of Solaris. Like I don't know, I haven't seen the film. I probably should. But should we wrap up Eternity in a Day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Theo?
Ratings.
9. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm also a 9.
8.
Fair.
Awesome.
Conservative 8.
Yeah.
Conservative 8.
Yeah.
Very unique.
Thank you.
No, well, now it's time for the
Nick's pick.
recommendation, and it is Nick's.
Yeah, so it's
Nobody guessing this time. We're not as
No.
Well, we had a
technical
crack,
quality
but
as Nick.
No, so it's I was tossing between a few, but ultimately the reason I picked this film was because I know that it's kind of complicated in a way and want to like decipher its meanings.
Okay.
It's been a movie that I wanted to watch for ages, and it is by a very popular director that I know we've all seen films of. Enemy by Denis Villeneuve.
Genuinely haven't heard of it.
That is my pick. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay.
And I'm very interested to see.
So 2013.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So it
I
is
can watch
new.
it.
Yeah. It's in English, Marlon. I know.
Go on.
He
So,
actually
yeah.
has a lot of movies I really need to see.
Didn't he direct June?
Yeah.
Did June?
I don't think
Blade Runner
that should be
2049,
his
Blade Runner
opening thing
2049,
that he's directed because he's done a lot of
Yeah, well, it's just the most recent.
Prisoners.
Blade Runner 2049 is gorgeous.
Arrival.
Oh, did he?
Arrival's probably
Prisoners is
He
fucking
did
awesome.
Polytechnic. I remember watching that. That's
I haven't seen it.
about like so I think it's like a Canadian mass shooting at like it's like an
Yes, enemy
cell thing. That's enemy there.
A mild-mannered college professor discovers a look-alike actor and delves into the other.
Yeah.
Does sound interesting.
So, I've heard good things about it, and mainly because I'm a big Denis fan. I was like,
Yeah.
I want to talk about this. Sicario as well. He made
Something
Sicario, which is
interesting
great.
about him actually, and I think this. I don't know if this happened during his career or before it, but he like decided to not make some movies because he wanted to have more experience in life and have a better lens to really and better voice to make them.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting when you come through the movie. Yeah, well, or just in all his films in general, like before he wanted to become a real, focus on directing, he actually wanted to live. And then from there, you can actually really have that lived experience to present better ideas.
No,
Yeah.
fair enough.
But fair, yeah.
Next month we have Enemy, which is going to be great.
Yep.
We'll also be watching Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which comes out for us next
Yay,
week.
Marvel.
Fingers
So
crossed.
that'll be an interesting chat. We'll also be watching Brandon Cronenberg's horror film Infinity Pool, which has got a lot of buzz for being very disturbing. So,
Yeah.
check out all those films.
Mhm.
This time next month, the episode will be out.
Yeah.
Very keen to get onto those.
Is this director? Has he got this exact same last name as the other
He's his
Cronenberg?
son.
Is it really? Okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah. He's David Cronenberg's son.
Cronenberg. Oh, what a man.
I know, eh?
What does
Fucking-
David direct?
David Cronenberg.
He's done The Brood.
Videodrome.
What's the one with the Dead Ringers? Did he do The Fly?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't
The
seen
Fly,
Fly.
bro. Oh my god.
I remember when you watched that.
Yeah, Cronenberg's good, man. I really like The Brood. The Brood is really good.
Eastern Promises is a Russian mafia movie with Viggo Mortensen. That movie is fantastic.
But yeah, Cronenberg has a very specific,
And
strange,
apparently-
psychodrama.
Yeah, his
psycho
son is
horror.
following in his footsteps.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Awesome.
excited.
I'm very excited. So yeah, everyone get keen.
It'll be interesting to put that next to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it'll be an
It's really
interesting
light
couple of
hearted.
weeks at the
Oh,
movies.
similar to Super Mario and Beau Is Afraid, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly. Yeah, everyone, go out and watch those movies.
Yeah. Watch the ones we just talked about if you haven't already.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the links will be in the description as always.
As always.
And thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.